This is Karen with NewClevelandRadio.net. It is Tuesday, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. I don't know if all of you are ready for a show or not, but this is What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick, John DiNallo.
Hey, yeah, we're here. If I knew how to do a gobble, I would do one in honor of all the turkeys that survived last week.
That's right.
I haven't seen any. I normally see them around my neighborhood here in Northeast Ohio, but not since last week. I wonder why.
I wonder who's eating them all.
I don't know. We have talked about this, maybe even on the show. I don't know about eating a wild turkey. Have you ever had a? But wait, I better introduce the show. This is What in the World with me, Paul Seaburn, everybody's favorite weird news host. This is your favorite weird news show. Real news, sometimes strange, always funny. I'm here with Karen Hale, our producer, co-host, media mogul at NewClevelandRadio.net. Hi, Karen. And John DiNallo, our host of What in the World of Sport, color commentator, all-around good guy. Hey, John.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Karen. It's another week. And obviously, if you are able to see the podcast today, I'm representing Michigan colors, University of Michigan, with their strong win on Saturday.
Okay, I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Well, okay, all you people don't like that. I'm also.
Oh, there we go. No, another football team.
You know, who actually won the next day as well, and they played a fantastic game and won a hard-fought game on Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady.
Yes. I will mention, since we talked about football quite a bit last week, and our high school football team, and since I heard this from a friend of the show, Mark, down in Austin, who used to live in Cleveland and went to high school with me. I mentioned he heard heard us talking about Holy Name, which is John's high school, and wanted to mention that used to be a girls' school. And I said, well, no, not really. Hey,
I better talk to this. Hey, well, you got Mark's phone number. I'm gonna give him a call. What's he talking about? A girls' school? Well, he's making a reference to in Parma Heights. It used to be school.
Right. The building that they now occupy.
Right.
Holy Name has a long and storied career, life as a well-known, well-respected high school in the Cleveland area. So, and I know they played a good game too. Sorry to hear that they're out of the playoffs, but life goes on. We've got other sports to talk about here this week. And we're not even going to bring up the Browns because we want to see what they do on Sunday before we make any comments on them. But, we do have sports on What in the World. John will be talking about another, interesting, weird sport. In the meantime, we'll be talking about all the weird and wonderful news from around the world, giving you a break from the bad news, the political, the religious, the business, all that stuff that you just don't want to hear about anymore. For 1 hour, you don't have to at What in the World. We talk about weird stuff from around the world, stuff I collect from my job as editor and writer at Mysterious Universe. MysteriousUniverse.org is our website. And also just some fun stuff that I like to comment on. You can see some of that stuff on my Facebook page. So like me on Facebook, and you'll catch some of the photos and jokes. We are on YouTube, so I occasionally will post a photo to go along with the story. I'll try to describe it for those of you who are listening in, like Mark, our buddy down in Austin. But it's always fun to go to YouTube. You get to see what kind of weird things we might be wearing today, as John points out with his multi-team outfit. And it's just a fun place to go. So wherever you listen to us, thank you for listening. Like us, follow us, do all those wonderful things. And let's get right to it, because we've got some great stories this week and some good photos too. So let's see, what am I talking about today? This is a historical sports story for you, John. What they ate for snacks in the Roman Coliseum. They just found out what the spectators were eating. So this
Oh.
is a fun story here. Worst job in the world. This is also for you. John used to be a recruiter, so we'll be looking forward to your commentary on this. Why some people slap watermelons, and that's not a euphemism for something that we can't talk about. This guy actually slaps watermelons, and we're going to find out why he does it. A strange bed. This is for you, Karen. You're not going to want to see what's living underneath this particular bed.
Okay.
Let's see. Worst candy cane flavor. Oh, wait. This beats turkey in a can by a mile. For those of you who remember turkey in a can from last week. The world's smartest goldfish. This is an interesting story. I have a couple of goldfish stories from this week. Another tattoo mistake. It seems like we're having some strange tattoo stories. I've got another one today. More odd news and trivia. We've got John with his strange sport, and we've got Bluff the co-host coming up. So let's get right to it because we want to stay on time today. Let's see. What's our first story here? Okay. So this is a candidate for the worst job in the world. Have you, John? You placed normal jobs. You never.
Yeah, I would say pretty mainstream engineering. Production management. They were good positions actually. I mean, it wasn't anything.
There was never a time when you were desperate for money and somebody called up and said, "Hey, you got a blah blah blah," and you said, "I don't deal in that." But for you.
No, they had to have some kind of technical skill, even if they had some kind of technical skill, even if they didn't have a college degree, they needed some kind of technical skill. Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely. Well, let's see if you can place somebody in this particular job. This job comes to us from Japan. Okay, so it's going to be weird. From the Tennoji Zoo in Osaka, Japan. The zoo management wanted to be prepared in case one of their animals escaped. In particular, a lion. Now, why they were thinking about this, I don't know. That might be a bad sign. So to get ready, they pulled the alarm. That's they don't have a fire alarm. They have a lion escape alarm. So they pulled the alarm, and that triggered all of the zookeepers to put on their protective gear. So they're in full protective gear. They would come running out with their nets. They've got shields, and they go to pursue the escaped lion. Now, since this was a drill, it was not a real escaped lion, and that's where we come to the job. So let's take a look at the escaped lion that they were going after. Here is the escaped lion that the zookeepers go after.
2 feet.
Whose mascot is he?
Yeah, really good one, Karen.
Yeah. That's right. It's basically a man in a lion costume, but he's not even on all fours. It's an employee of the zoo, and he's running on 2 feet in what looks like a mascot's costume from a sports team. Talk about embarrassing. This guy was so embarrassed. He asked the guys after they caught him to shoot him with the tranquilizer gun just to put him in his There were other photos. It's so funny if you look it up on the internet to watch him. He just kind of trucks along. He doesn't really act like a lion at all.
It's somewhat passive, obviously. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So, and you can see these people are well armed. They've got their riot gear on. They've got guns. They're all set for this poor guy.
And they have nets to cast over a lion. Right.
Yeah. The photo, the next photo in this sequence, the poor lion's on the ground and they have a net thrown over him. It's really sad. So this poor guy, this is his job. He's the fake animal for the zoo. So he did all these drills. They had a escape gorilla drill. So he's got to get in a gorilla costume. They made him climb up a building. They chased him with drones. He's holding a little doll to make it look like King Kong. The poor guy, they abuse him. And then they had an earthquake drill. So the poor guy has to get dressed up like a collapsed building. So he just lays down. That's all he does. He lays down. They come up and they roll him over to see if there's anybody trapped inside the building. Poor guy. He is just, so he decided, I'm going to get even with the zoo. So he got fed up. So they wanted him to do an escaped wolf drill. So he gets into the wolf costume. He runs over to the warthog house. He blows the house down and he eats the ham from the warthog. That got him fired. That got the poor guy fired. So turns out
you got fired.
Oh yeah. Oh, but don't worry. There were other recruiters out looking for him. You weren't because you're retired, but he got a job offer from the Detroit Lions. Not as a mascot. not as a mascot. They want him to help prepare the team when they play the Bengals. So
really.
He's got experience.
Sure. Wow.
What a sad job to have. I just I couldn't believe this poor guy. They made him do that. So and the zoo is open. So he's doing it in front of visitors. How does this prepare these zookeepers to catch a real lion? That's the other question I had.
Non-existent. I mean,
I know. I trust if I ever get to go to Japan, to Osaka, I'm not going to this zoo. Sorry, if you were planning to sponsor our show. So anyway, here's another animal story for this week. This was a very popular story this week. So while fishing in the blue water lakes, which are in Champagne, France, a man by the name of Andy Hackett, caught a legendary 67-pound goldfish. Now, if you're wondering what a 67-pound goldfish looks like, they look like this. Now, for those of you who can't see it, the goldfish takes up the entire screen. You can't even see the guy behind the goldfish. It's 67 pounds. It's like he's holding up a Doberman or a huge dog that happens to be gold with fins. So this goldfish has lived in this lake for over 20 years. People see it. Obviously, they feed it. It weighs 67 pounds. They named it Carrot. So this guy comes in and he catches it. So fortunately, he threw it back in. After he waited, he threw it back in because he didn't have a toilet big enough to flush it down.
Oh. Okay.
But he did take photos. It took him 20 minutes to haul it in. I don't know what kind of bait you use to catch a goldfish. I guess.
That's a great question. Like, what did he use to bring that fish up? Wow.
A little container of flakes that he got the pet store.
Got the big fish interested.
So Carrot. So Carrot lived. Obviously, this goldfish has lived there for 20 years. It has no natural enemies. Carrot does in this lake, other than a piranha named Bugs. So, do I have to explain this one? His name is Carrot, Bugs Bunny.
Oh.
I sure hope our listeners are more on the ball than our co-hosts this week.
They probably are. Yeah,
I'm sure they are. Yes, they really are. So, believe it or not, a 67-pound, probably about 3 feet long, I would say. So, the Guinness World Record people, this would blow away the previous record, which is only 15 or 20 pounds. So they're already considering this for a world record for the world's longest goldfish, the world's heaviest goldfish. So in the meantime, I looked up a couple other goldfish records. The world's oldest captive goldfish. I love this one. 43 years old. This was a kid he was an adult by the time the goldfish died. Lived in England. And he won a goldfish at a carnival, just like everybody gets their goldfish. He managed to take care of it enough that it lived for 43 years.
Wow.
43 years, yeah.
What's the average life of a goldfish?
I looked that up. It's about 15 years. If the average longest life. So that's far blew that one away. The goldfish, as he was dying, he thought he was seeing God. To him, God was a giant hand with a container of flakes shaken into the bowl. But they buried him. Of course, thank God they didn't flush him. They buried him in a yogurt carton in their backyard, in their garden. And they said that it was the fish's request to use the yogurt carton. But he didn't want to be buried in an empty bag of Goldfish crackers. So he specifically asked for a yogurt carton. Anyway, now this is another record that I thought was very unusual. The record for the world's smartest goldfish. This is based on the number of tricks that the goldfish can perform. So this goldfish, his name is Albert Einstein, because he was so smart, can do 6 different tricks. Take a guess. What do you think a goldfish? What would be a good trick for a goldfish?
He can play dead.
Good one, Karen. Good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so he can do 7 tricks. So besides playing dead, he can eat from a hand. So he doesn't wait for the stuff to shake into the bowl. He'll eat from your hand. He swims through a tunnel. He swims through a hoop sideways. He can do the limbo, which I'm not sure how he can do that in his bowl. And he plays soccer. Now, this is the one that I liked. Here is the goldfish playing soccer. Underwater, there's a little net. There's a little ball on the bottom of the bowl, and the fish is pushing it. You can get a video. Google goldfish playing soccer on the internet, and you can see a video of him. But this particular goldfish is pushing the ball into the goal. He's in the World Cup, by the way. I don't know if you knew this. He's in the World Cup. He's playing for the team from Atlantis.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Sole participant? He's a sole participant.
I believe no. The rest of the team just watches them. You have to have what? How many on a soccer team? 10 or? I don't really know. Any sport that people get excited about for ending in a 0-0 tie, I have a problem with. So I watch goldfish play soccer. And I'm sorry for all the soccer fans out there, or the football fans. But anyway, this fish is so smart. He's going to be on this new TV show called Aquarium's Got Talent, just for fish. Yeah. But he's not as smart as you might think, because he still thinks that thing on the bottom of his aquarium is a real skeleton in a treasure chest. So, he can do the limbo, but he can't tell the difference between a real skeleton and a fake one.
He has to work on that.
Yeah. Albert Einstein, the fish. All right. So this is for you, John. This is an ancient sports story. So the Coliseum in Rome, considered to be the oldest standing sports arena in the world. Archaeologists continue to dig around it and inside of it and find more things. So they're digging in the sewers around the Roman Coliseum, and this is where you always heard that when we were growing up, that this is where the Romans fed Christians to the lions. And we always thought, well, okay, so the lions were fed, but if there were people in the stands, what were they eating? Well, now we know, because these archaeologists are digging in the sewers, the ancient sewers, not the regular sewers, but the sewers from when the Coliseum was being used. And they've actually found remains of stuff that they were eating. So they were eating, the fans were eating fruit, nuts, and olives while they watched the gladiators and the lions eating people. So I thought that was interesting. But even more interesting, they also found a jar of Coliseum mustard, which they put on the olives. Apparently, the fruits that they ate were figs, grapes, and melons. which figs and grapes, I think, would be a good thing to eat. Melons at a sporting event, I'm wondering if that's such a good idea. It's like being at a Gallagher show, which is my salute to the late magician Gallagher, comedian, I'm sorry, who passed away a couple weeks ago. I had a chance to see. We got nowhere near the front row to get hit by watermelons. The nuts were not peanuts, because the peanuts are native to North and South America. I think maybe just North America. So they hadn't been discovered yet. They ate walnuts, bags of walnuts. Hey, well, once the beer guy went by, then the walnut guy came by, and so they threw you a bag of walnuts. So they had to bring their own nutcrackers, which back in those days was your oldest son, who stomped on them or did something.
I thought it was your teeth.
What's that?
Your teeth were your nutcrackers.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah. Well, so you only needed to buy one, I guess, not one walnut. The fruit was peaches, cherries, plums, and then the nuts. Besides the walnuts, they also sold hazelnuts and pine nuts. So say what you want about the Romans, that was the world's healthiest tailgate party. No sausages, no
tailgating took place.
Yeah, behind the chariot, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what that would be called, chariot gating. And they also, in addition to the fruits and nuts, they also found coins in the sewer. That's for real. They from whatever the emperor was at the time was on there. So they think. Not only were these coins used to pay for the snacks, but they were also used during the coin toss, which the referee got down on the field and flipped, showed the two sides and said, heads you get beheaded, tails we tie you to the tail of the lion. But isn't that right, John? I think that's the way it went.
Well, neither is a good alternative, obviously, but
now. We were talking about the Michigan Wolverines before. That stadium holds well over 100,000 people. The Coliseum, which is 2,000 years old, held 50,000 people, which is amazing. Even more amazing is that they had to go to the bathroom back in those days. And they actually had bathrooms. If you look at I think I have a picture of the Coliseum here. I was looking at it and I thought, did they really have bathrooms, or did they just turn around and go off out the window of the Coliseum? But it turns out I did some research and they definitely had bathrooms, men's and women's, I think. Here's the men's bathroom. This is a drawing. Obviously, they didn't have photography. So it was obviously a communal bathroom. There were also bathtubs in there. I'm not sure what they used those for. And there's a guy with a bowl and a spoon. I don't know what he was doing with that. Anyway, that's the men's bathroom. Now they had two bathrooms, a communal bathroom for men, and then they also had one for women. And here's so you can see what that looked like, Karen.
Oh, how nice!
So that's actually a doctored photograph of what looks like a stone bathroom with pink commodes in it. Turns out it's true that they only had two bathrooms, one for the men and one for the women. On the other hand, they had 110 water fountains because the Romans were masters at developing the aqueduct and
yes, that is true. Yes,
flowing water. Yeah, John. So they had plenty of water. Maybe because they didn't have beer at the time, but
they had to be able to quench their thirst somehow. Yeah.
And they did find remnants of the bathroom. They're right by the ticket stand. So you go and you buy your ticket, and then you could go run over and do your business before you found your seat, because you certainly didn't want to miss, somebody getting eaten by it, whatever they did. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to leave this up for a second because I have another photo here. So this is one of our tattoo stories. This one comes from Taiwan. So the man in Taiwan got tired of using his smartphone at the grocery store to pay for his groceries. How you can get tired of using a smartphone, I don't know, but he did. That's his story. So his solution was to get a payment app barcode permanently tattooed on his arm, so that when he went to the store, he just waved his arm over the scanner in order to pay for the products that he was buying.
Wow.
Yeah. how lazy do you have to be? So, so people are saying right off the bat, they're saying, oh, this is a really good idea. He'll get out much faster. Guess what happened? He got hacked. So he had to get a new barcode. So now he's got two barcodes on his arm. And what do you do? What do you do when there's a line, and the reader's not reading your arm? Do you try to slide your arm through the reader? Like you have to do with your credit card when the chip doesn't work.
Yeah.
Call the manager, pay with a check. I wonder where he's got his checkbook tattooed. I'd like to see that.
Wow.
So, I mean, this is just an absurd tattoo. People have too much money and time on their hands. The people that get things.
Appears to be. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, John, I have another recruiting story here for you.
Okay, go ahead.
This one comes from France. Now, there's a company in France by the name of Cubic Partners. They're a management consulting firm based in Paris.
Okay.
So they got into trouble recently. They got sued by a man. He won't give his name. He goes by Mr. T, not the Mr. T that we all think of, the wrestler and movie star. But to preserve his, Mr. T worked for, and Mr. T got upset with Cubic because he was fired. And the reason they gave for him being fired is, and I want to make sure I have this correct, he was difficult to work with, a poor listener, and simply boring. He was too boring to work at Cubic Partners. So they fired him. Would that hold up today, John?
I don't think so. I mean, what was he fired because he was boring? I mean,
because he was boring. That's what it said. Yeah, in his review, you're too boring.
What was his job?
Yeah,
I don't know. He was a consultant. He was a consultant.
Well, he was supposed to entertain people as he consulted them.
He had to serve some purpose. He had to have some kind of purpose, right? I don't know.
Well, okay. So he went to court. This was and it was a multi-year case. It was finally settled this past week, and the French court ruled in his favor. He could not be fired because he was too boring. So they awarded him with, I think he got $8,000. Now he's suing for damages for a couple $100,000, of course.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
I mean, what job can you, I was trying to think of another job that you would get fired from just for being boring. The only one I could think of would be comedian.
Right.
Right.
Other than that, now I'll give you some and then, what if your job is making tunnels? Then you're boring at being boring.
Good job.
Yeah, boring, right.
I know. The details were that he was required, as you mentioned, Karen, to entertain a lot. But this company apparently took entertaining overboard. And I don't even want to go into a description of what they were required to do. So he was, in a sense, justified at suing the company. Anyways, boring at boring.
His favor, anyway. Yeah, right. At any rate, you found in his favor. So
yeah. Okay, so Thanksgiving is over. That means Christmas season has started officially. Unofficially, it's been going on since what, summertime?
It seems
depending on where you shop. Yeah. So so the lovely Donna already has our tree up. By the way, for our friend of the show, Ron and Linda, my Bigfoot ornament that has a prominent place on the tree this year. So when I have to get a picture of it so everybody can see it. But it's candy cane season, and that's what I talk about now. This is the world's worst flavor for candy cane, and I'm just going to put it up here because it's just so unbelievable. So this is a company that makes candy canes, and their flavor this year is Caesar salad candy canes.
No.
Yes.
Why?
Caesar salad candy canes, $7.99 for a package of 6, I believe it looks like. And they're the, authentic with the curl on the top candy cane. It's a package of 6 that they say tastes like a Caesar salad. Here's the marketing slogan: a little creamy, a little lettucey, and a tiny bit anchovy.
Oh,
Now, I don't know about you. I don't even like when anchovies taste a tiny bit anchovy.
right.
So,
I agree.
in a candy cane of all places. So, but that's their flavor for this year. They don't give a reason why. Some marketing guru decided that this is what we were going to make.
Maybe it becomes a hot seller. Who knows, right?
It could be, John. You're right. Do you know, by the way, why it's called a Caesar salad?
I actually don't.
Where's my trivia horn here? So I didn't either. I had to look it up. So it was created by a restaurant owner by the name of Caesar Cardini. Caesar Cardini was, although he sounds Italian, his restaurant was in Mexico. And his daughter remembers when he invented it in 1924. This was a tough time. It was before it was after World War I, and they were going through a depression in Mexico at the time, in Tijuana. That's where he was. So he's got this restaurant in Tijuana, Mexico, and on the 4th of July, apparently there were a lot of Americans down there, and they pretty much depleted his main stock of food. So he took whatever he could find in the refrigerator and continued to serve salads, and to make it to cover up for the fact that he was just using leftovers, he made the salad at the table side of the people who bought it so that they'd be distracted and they wouldn't notice what was in the salad. And what was in the salad: romaine lettuce, croutons, lemon juice, olive oil, egg, Worcestershire sauce, anchovies, garlic, Dijon mustard, Parmesan cheese, and black pepper. Notice this restaurant is in Tijuana. There were no tortilla chips. There was no guacamole. Apparently, he's sold out of all that
No
stuff.
salsa, huh? No salsa.
Yeah. So, and who has leftover anchovies? I can understand. Dijon mustard, Parmesan cheese. So anyways, that's the origin of the Caesar salad. People liked it so much that he had to start stocking the stuff that didn't sell very well, and created this legendary Caesar salad. So John, Karen, you like Caesar salad?
I adore it.
I like
You
it.
do?
Yeah. I enjoy Caesar salad. Yeah.
Yeah. You like when it's made at the side of the table?
Well, that's extra special. I mean, sure. Let me ask you this: are they going to provide Caesar dressing for the candy canes?
For the candy canes? No, they already taste like Caesar salad. So I don't know. I don't know. Here's what I do know. The candy cane, here's another trivia. The candy cane was invented in 1670, which is amazing to me. And here's the legend. And John, if you remember Christmas when we were growing up, the long Christmas services in church.
Sure.
So this was a Catholic church in Germany, in the Cologne Cathedral. And the choir with the little kids had to be quiet when they weren't singing, and they weren't being quiet. So the choir master pulled out sugar sticks and gave them and brought them to give to the kids to keep them quiet when they weren't singing. So the management of the church, the priest and the people who were in charge, they got all upset, because they said, you can't be bringing candy into church. We don't care what you're doing. You can't bring candy into church. So he was ready for it. He knew they were going to complain. So he put the little curl, he melted the sugar sticks and he curled them at the end. And he said, oh no, this has religious significance. This is a shepherd's cane, shepherd's staff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that, honest to God, this is the legendary story. So the choir master put the hook on there, and they said, oh, well, if it's the shepherd's staff, by all means, pass them on to everybody. So I was just thinking, now the church that I go to doesn't have a youth choir anymore. I don't know if there's too many churches that have them, but if the kids were acting up at my church, they wouldn't give them candy cane. They might give them a candy cell phone or something to occupy their time.
Yeah,
well, what else?
probably.
Really? How else would you keep a kid quiet in church these days? I don't know.
Yeah, times have changed.
Yeah, times have changed. Exactly right, John. Okay, so Karen, I got a story here for you. This one comes from England. Now you've heard of the movie Snakes on a Plane.
Yep.
Well, this is about snakes under a bed. Now, sometimes that happens accidentally. In this case, it's intentionally. There's a company in England that is making a special bed with a built-in snake enclosure underneath the mattress.
No.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
There's a picture of it. You can see it's a big boxy type bed, and right underneath where you would be sleeping, there's a looks like a wire or mesh screen with a door on it, and hopefully some locks that you open up, and inside of there is a snake, so that you can have your snake close to you while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
No, this is the company name is Sealy Posture. I peed in my bed. That's what I would do if I had a snake underneath the bed.
That is unique. That is different.
Yeah. Yes, so you really, it's obviously for snake lovers. Although I could see situations where you might want to have a snake under your bed. For example, and again, John, I know you had brothers, a brother growing up. We had bunk beds when we were kids because the rooms were small, so you had to stack the bed. And the brothers always fought over who got the top and who got the bottom. This is a way to settle the argument. You want the bottom, you have to sleep over the snake.
Yeah.
That would be a big deterrent for sure. I mean, who would want to do that?
Or you live in New York and you live in a cheap apartment and you need something to keep the rats out of your bedroom. Perfect thing to get right here.
I mean, did that purpose also. Wow.
Yeah, it would be well fed. The bed itself is only $230 in American dollars. It's a British invention, so you have to pay for shipping. But even so, that's pretty cheap. So reminds me of that famous fairy tale, The Princess and the Python. Why can't I sleep? Because there's a python under my mattress.
Oh my God.
I'm grateful that my parents only told me there was a boogeyman under my bed. I mean, if they had snakes. So John, I have a sports joke for you based on this snake under the bed contraption. Who can you think of who doesn't mind sleeping with a snake? And remember, this is a sports joke. Who can you think of in the sports world who wouldn't mind sleeping with a snake? You have 1 second. Where's Bigfoot?
Mike Tyson.
John's going to be very upset when he hears the answer. The answer is Ken Stabler's wife.
Oh, no. Okay. All right.
For you youngsters,
in fact, he was
nicknamed the Snake, right?
Yeah, he was
Hall of Famer, by the way. Hall of Famer, Oakland Raider. Yeah.
Oakland Raider, very prolific passer. Also, very known for his, being able to enjoy the nightlife as well. And, I
moved to Houston during his last season with the Houston Oilers.
He played there, right? Sure.
Yes, he played for the Houston Oilers and he played for the New Orleans Saints before he finally retired.
Right. Good one. Wow.
That's right.
I totally missed that. Okay.
He retired his number and he also retired his gin bottle. He was a partier. Okay, let's see. How are we going here? Oh, so I want to talk to this is another sports story here. The melon slapper. This is, where did they come up with these things? A melon slapping athlete in Spain broke a Guinness World Record when he used his open hand to smash 39 watermelons in 1 minute by slapping them. Now, here's a picture of him doing this slapping here. So this is a pretty rough slap. You can see the people, they actually had people holding them wearing glasses.
Wow.
So it took him 1 minute to slap and smash 39 watermelons. I want to know what, they said he was an athlete. What sport do you participate in that prepares you for slapping? Other than, maybe football if you're a defensive lineman like Myles Garrett.
Right. Something like that.
Yeah, the only place I see slapping these days is on the Academy Awards.
Oh, well, yeah.
This is an actual Guinness World Record, believe it or not. One person made a comment. They said, what is the difference between slapping and smashing? Because it seems like it's the same thing. And the Guinness people actually responded, and they said, it's not the official record title, but it's catchier. So the title is actually Smashing Watermelon, but they like the sound of slapping better, so they changed it to Slapping Watermelon. Other watermelon records. Official record for most smashed watermelons using punches, not slaps, which apparently are harder to do. Most watermelons punched in a minute 78. For kicking a watermelon with a roundhouse kick, record is 30 in 1 minute. Smashing them with your head, 49 in a minute. I looked for that guy. I wanted to see that guy. Apparently he doesn't allow photos. I don't know. None of these people could get a job at a grocery store because, look what they do. Okay.
Is there competition? Does he compete against other contestants, or is he doing this solo?
No, he was just doing it to set the record. Right. No, there wasn't. It was there weren't two people like at the Coney Island eating contest competing against.
Hot dog eating contest.
He's the only one. He's the only one. So John, it's wide open if you want to try this.
I don't think so. I mean,
sure.
First of all, he's smashing these these watermelons. The people are holding them in their hand. Is that correct?
Yes, they are. That's right.
So he's strong enough, okay, to be able to again smash the watermelon just with people holding it. I mean, wow, that's
right. And he's slapping them sideways. If he was slapping forward, he would be pushing the watermelon into the face of the people holding it. Because they're just, for those of you who can't see it, they're just holding it in the palm of their hand, one hand, not even two hands, one hand. So obviously he's slapping it with a massive amount of force to be able to smash it.
No question about that. Wow.
Yeah. So what? One more quick animal story here. So there was a video on the internet of a frog, South American giant monkey frog, that secretes wax from its skin. We always talk about the ones that secrete poison and psychedelics that people lick. So that this frog secretes wax from its skin so that it doesn't dry out in the sun. And I thought it was a pretty cool looking frog here. For those of you who can see the frog, the Amazonian tribes call it the vaccine of the forest because it has medicinal properties. So as soon as they published this, the Amazon was swamped by Americans coming down they either wanted to lick the toad or they wanted to wax their car with it. Neither of which you should do. Also, same time, another interesting animal discovery. There was this pigeon that they thought was extinct. It's the rare black-naped pheasant pigeon. Pheasant pigeon. So they call it that because it looks like a pheasant. Doesn't look anything like the pigeons you see downtown. It's a very beautiful bird. It's been lost. They haven't seen one for 140 years on Papua New Guinea, so remote island. They finally found one on Ferguson Island, one of the islands down there, and they managed to capture this photograph of it. Hadn't been seen in 140 years. So how did the ornithologists, which is what the guys are called, that the people are called that go down there, how did they manage to lure this pigeon out of the jungle where it had been hiding for 140 years? One of them washed his car. And the pigeon came out and he couldn't resist. And I couldn't resist telling that. And I can't resist moving on. I'm going to take that picture down here. And I can't resist moving on to our next segment, which is What in the World of Sports with John DiNallo. John is always in a sports mood, this week even more because he is Natalie attired. I remember Natalie from high school, Natalie attired. John is Natalie attired in his Michigan outfit here. And every week, for those of you who are regular listeners, every week, you know that I ask John to find a strange sport that fits the theme of What in the World. Real news, sometimes strange, always funny. In this case, it's real sport. And John always manages to find something strange. Now, this week was a little different because friend of the show, Lynn, was at my house for Thanksgiving. And Lynn said, I listen to all your sports. I've got one for you, and it's a Cleveland sport. And sure enough, I looked it up, and it's a Cleveland sport that Lynn participated in. And wait till you hear, we may have some other participants in that particular sport on the show. So, John, I'll line up our photos for you while you introduce us to the sport of the week.
Oh, thank you for the intro, Paul. Appreciate it. So, yes, the sport this week is WhirlyBall. And it's
WhirlyBall. Okay. Sounds like a sport.
No,
okay.
It's an aptly named team game that combines the elements of basketball and lacrosse with players riding in what is called whirlybugs. And these whirlybugs are small electric vehicles similar to traditional bumper cars. Now, because play requires a special court, it is played only in a handful of locations in both the United States and Canada, and that includes one that is in Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio. So for our Cleveland listeners, Karen, you said it's in Richmond Heights?
I think it's Richmond Heights. Yeah.
I believe it's somewhere around Richmond and Miles.
Yeah, that's it.
For those of you who are in the area. Okay. All right, John.
Okay.
So here's some people. By the way, here's a photograph of, and you can see they're holding a basket, a handled basket, similar to what you use in lacrosse, only a shorter handle, kind of like highlight.
Right.
But the description on the website said lacrosse, so they apparently want to be associated with lacrosse more than highlight. Anyway, go ahead. And the little things are called whirlybug, kind of cute little.
Yes, cute little cars. Yeah, right. So the WhirlyBall team consists of 5 players. A player rides a whirlybug and carries the long scoop, as you can see. Although that one looks kind of small. There's various sizes, but
we've got some other, yeah.
But the scoop is used to pass the ball, and it's usually a wiffle ball. It does not necessarily have to be a wiffle ball, but usually it is. And then if they're not passing it, they're shooting at the goal. And the goal is a circular target that is situated above the 2 opposite ends of the court. A score in WhirlyBall is called a whirlick, and players are not allowed to leave their cars or to touch the ball with their hands at any time.
So you can't get off and chase the ball on foot.
Right.
By the way, which might not be a good idea because the floor is electrified. So that's where the power comes from. Well, apparently it's not dangerous.
No, but other than that, anything goes within a certain bounds of safety, such as a player cannot ram a player from behind. If that happens, it's a 4-point penalty. Now,
and rightly so.
So if you're wondering how this whole thing came about, the game was first invented in Utah in the 1960s. And then whirlybugs are supplied by Flowtron Enterprises, and Flowtron Enterprises is the sole manufacturer of WhirlyBall equipment. The tiny electric cars are powered by alternating conducting plates that are electrified, that make up the floor, and then they're steered again by a handle within the car that looks like a crank, which also allows the car to go in reverse.
It's very. You obviously have to spend some time learning how to drive these things around, because it's not a steering wheel seems like it would be better, but you have to hold it with one hand.
And one of the issues is if your car somehow gets to the wall, to get it away from the wall, Okay, somewhat similar to like in bumper cars.
Like bumper cars, yeah, from the amusement park, right?
Exactly, exactly. Now, Chicago has a number of WhirlyBall venues and facilities, but they're also found, as we know, in Cleveland, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Kansas, Michigan, Minnesota, Texas, Washington, and Wisconsin.
Wow, so it's pretty popular.
Yeah. With courts in Canada, Flowtron Enterprises calls WhirlyBall an international sport.
Technically, yeah,
Play at that.
I guess you're right.
So let's have a whirl at WhirlyBall terminology.
Oh,
The whirly bug is the car, and as you mentioned earlier, the whirlick is a 2-point score. The power shot is like a layup in basketball, while slashing means hitting an opponent's scoop while going for the ball.
oh, okay. Slashing, right? Okay.
A pillow block is driving the whirly bug into an opponent's bumper to spin them around, while wall bouncing means running into the wall.
Duh.
And the back door is an area to the side of the basket where whirly bugs park before making a quick move to the basket. So
Oh,
there's some strategy that's involved.
I guess.
Now, it is played as a competitive sport with organized leagues, but it's more commonly played just for entertainment, just to have a good time. Many WhirlyBall locations have a sports bar and offer other games as some contestants are waiting their turn. The Cleveland location has laser sports and bowling.
Ooh,
Now, I think this is a unique sport, obviously, but it sounds like a fun sport and activity. And it is also the best place to drive an electric car when you can't afford a Tesla.
good point, John.
Hey.
Good point.
Or you can't drive a hybrid. I mean, here's an electric car.
Electric car, yeah.
Electric car.
I don't know how much it costs, 20 or $30 probably for an hour or so, and you can. It doesn't look like it's much of a workout, but
well, I think it's just kind of is again more entertainment, and again, obviously the comparison of when you used to ride bumper cars, right? Again,
right.
that was quite an attraction at the
One
amusement.
thing. That's right. That's right. I like this photo right here. For those of you who can't see it, this is a bridal party, men and women in what looks like their their wedding outfits, playing WhirlyBall. So
notice each scoop is a different color. There is some significance to that, I think.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's right. The couples match. Each couple has matching scoops, and the bride is in white. I mean, this is they really put some thought into this. In fact, John, since you pointed that out, it looks like the scoops match the bow ties of the
the
guys in the bridal party, the groomsmen, right? Now, Karen, if you notice, this is a sport for women. Didn't you say you had you have at least been to one of their facilities?
I went to one of the facilities with a group of people who chose to tell me I was too old to play, so I left. Yeah,
looks like a sport for all ages here.
I think so. I think we should all go out,
including John. John mentioned that he was aware of a facility on the west side of Cleveland that had since closed down. So
that's correct.
Yeah. So I didn't think that I had ever been to one of these facilities. It sounded like a new sport to me. However, as I thought back, and John and I have known each other since we were in our teens. I remembered a time, and we both grew up poor. We couldn't afford to go to expensive places like this for entertainment.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. Riding bumper cars was maybe a once a year at most activity for us. So we made do, right, John? Remember, we made do back in those days.
We did, Paul. Yes.
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, we invented our own bumper car rink and competed in bumper cars. And I found a photo, in case you don't remember it. Here's a photo of us. Now, what we did was we took riding mowers and we turned them into bumper cars. Now, I'm not sure whose father had the farm that we were.
Yeah, where do we do that at? Where do we do that? I can't recognize the venue. Wow.
Well, there's two young guys on fairly modified riding mowers, having a gay old time. And the one on the left looks like he's polluting quite a bit. So I think the time the electric whirly car has arrived. So anyway, so there's John and I doing silly things when we were kids once again. All right. So thank you, John, for a great, and thank you, Lynn, by the way, if you're listening, for a great.
Yes, thank Lynn. Yes, thank her for sure.
Made our job a little easier and a lot more fun. So thanks so much for that. And
I think we should have planned an outing to go play WhirlyBall.
Go play WhirlyBall. Oh, that might be.
New Cleveland Radio will come up with our own team.
I think so. Yeah, we have to challenge somebody. We have to find somebody to challenge. Somebody who's really old and maybe decides that they're too old to play and leaves, and we win by default.
Hey, we can get the people from Montefiore.
Wow.
Okay, all right, back to the script here. That's a good idea, Karen. We will talk about that at our next board meeting.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right, so sports is over. That means it's time for Bluff the co-host, everybody's favorite weird news game. Real simple rules. The stories that I'm about to tell are like the ones we've been sharing all afternoon, with one big difference. Those were true. These stories may or may not be true. They may be bluffs, and it's up to Karen, John, and those of you playing at home to decide if the story is real or if it's a bluff. The points are allocated on how you do, and betting is allowed. So place your bet. John and Karen, put your hand on the buzzer, and let's get right to story number one. When Jimi Hendrix sang about purple haze, he wasn't thinking about Vancouver, but the people in that Canadian city would rather have the song than the mysterious purple light that covers many streets every night around 6 o'clock. That's the time the street lights come on, and one brand of LED bulbs are mysteriously turning deep purple. While some old hippies like that purple haze, the dim lights and purple rain make it dangerous to drive. So residents asked Prince, now King Charles, for help. That's not in his jurisdiction, but local officials got the message and are now slowly replacing the bulbs with more expensive bulbs that don't turn purple. In the meantime, they asked citizens to head to the lake, listen to some music, and have a smoke on the water. All right, Karen and John, the people in Vancouver, British Columbia, complaining because their streets are turning purple because the city bought cheap LED lights for their street lights. Real or bluff?
Wow.
Extra points if you can give me the number of how many purple references were in there.
I should have been counting, but I didn't. I'm gonna say this is a true story.
Karen says it's real. Okay.
Yeah, why not?
All right, John, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's true, and I actually like your presentation, including referencing Deep Purple with their famous hit song "Smoke on the Water."
Smoke on the Water. At the end, I tried to work "Girl from Tokyo" in there, a woman from Tokyo. I forget what the title of the song. Anyways, and Purple Rain and Prince. So, so let's see.
It was nicely done. I'm going to say it's true. I agree with Karen.
So John says it. John also says it's a real story. Okay, so Karen and John both say it's real. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, "Congratulations to both of you. That is a real story."
Okay.
Yeah. The cheap bulbs are burning the glass around the street light and causing them to turn purple. So that's what you get for skimping. Local mayors don't do that. Okay, so let's see. Scores 1-1. Let's get right to story number 2. A man in North Carolina got so tired of getting telemarketing calls at home that he sued a couple of the telemarketing companies and won a $100,000 settlement. With the money, he opened his own bar in honor of it and called it the wrong number. If you call, you always get the wrong number. But if you look them up online, you find out that the bar serves drinks called debt relief, student loans, and car warranty in honor of the scams the companies tried to pull on the owner. So his employees won't fall for the scams because they ran up their credit cards. He pays them a good wage so they don't need to depend on tips. He knows his employees are smart because they figured out how to get in touch with him about the job without calling a wrong number. Okay, so John and Karen, the guy who sues telemarketers wins, opens a bar called the wrong number in honor of the event. What do you say, real or bluff?
Well, I'll tell you, I really hope this is a true story because it seems that the annoying telemarketers have now provided a life or a business for this person. And I like the terminology that he uses in the bar for his drinks or what have you. So yeah, I like it. I think it's true.
Okay, John says that's a real story. Karen, how about you?
Well, if we could get rid of telemarketers, I think that'd be the best thing in the whole world. So let's go with true because this guy outsmarted them.
Outsmarted them. If it's true, he really did.
Yeah.
Let's check. So both John and Karen say that's a real story as well. Let's check with the judges. And the judges say, holy smoke on the water. Too right for both of you.
All right.
That was a real story. Yeah. What a clever guy.
We can't be doing any better than we are right now. Just remember.
And I agree with all the comments about telemarketers. That's true. Kudos to him for finding a way to get his revenge and employ people besides that. So, okay, so that's let's see, scores 2-2. Points are doubled in round number 3. That doesn't really matter this time. It's whoever gets the right answer is the winner. And we don't really mind ties in Bluff the co-host. So let's see what happens here. Points, hands on the buzzer, story number 3. Kids who want to learn how to be builders get Lego blocks for Christmas. Kids who want to be doctors get operation games. Kids who want to be sushi chefs were out of luck until this year when a company in Japan came out with a new 3D fish puzzle made from all the parts of a salmon that a sushi chef deals with. It comes with a plastic knife for cutting off the head, skinning the plastic fish, removing the plastic meat, and cutting out the bones and other parts that no one wants to eat raw. There's even plastic rice to serve with the plastic sushi. For kids who want to be veterinarians, they can come in later and put the plastic salmon back together again. Sushi chefs say it's great training and leaves no fishy smell on your hand. Okay, John and Karen, new toy from Japan this year, the plastic sushi, learn how to be a sushi chef puzzle in the shape of a fish. What do you say, real or bluff?
I think this is a bluff. I don't think you can learn to become a sushi, whatever chef. Yeah, I just had a little bit too much water to drink, so I'm going to say false.
False. Okay, it's a bluff. Yeah, you're not a big sushi fan?
No.
No. Okay. So Karen says it's a bluff. John, how about you?
I'm going to say it's a bluff too because I don't know how a child or a kid's going to be able to manipulate those plastic things to get the result that a normal sushi chef does. I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Okay. So John says it's a bluff as well. And I know John's been to those restaurants where the guys are flinging the knives and throwing stuff in the that's right. So I can see where you would be influenced by that. So let's see. So that means Karen says it's a bluff. John says it's a bluff as well. Let's check with the judges. And the judges say it's a tie, but you both got that one wrong. That's a real toy. Check it out on the internet. That's right. 3D salmon sushi kit.
Wow.
Coolest.
Well, okay.
You learn something new every day.
I would like to have one myself. Anybody out there looking for a gift item for me?
Okay. Well.
All right. So Well, there you go. So let's see. The score is 2-2. Score is tied. Everybody goes home happy. How about that?
Yeah,
Go
we
home
got a couple right there. And,
yeah, like the Romans. Have some figs and walnuts and
right.
olives.
And water.
Olives, right, exactly.
Water. All right. Well, that's the end of another edition of What in the World this week. I want to thank Karen Hale, our media mogul, producer, and co-host for everything that she does for us at What in the World. Go visit her, newclevelandradio.net. Check out all of the great podcasts on our platform. John, I want to thank John DiNallo, my old friend, color commentary and sports guy on What in the World. John, hope your teams have good luck this weekend as well. Both of those are playing again, so
yeah,
we'll have something good to talk about there next week.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and most importantly, I want to thank everybody out there for listening or watching or doing both. We really do appreciate you. I get messages from regular listener Mark down there when he can't get a hold of us, when he can't find us on the internet. So I have to help him out a little bit, but we're pretty easy to find on YouTube. And look me up on Facebook. I have instructions. Go to New Cleveland Radio. There's instruction. We're glad you're here. We certainly had a lot of fun this week. I hope you had fun as well. And I think that's it. Tune in next week for another edition of What in the World.
Absolutely. And go to the show notes. You will see the links to all the places you can find What in the World. Have a great day.